These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. And this horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Large sections of the Middle East. I mean, look at the death and destruction that's taken place. And none of this would have happened if I were president. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. But the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan and across the country want a stop to the endless wars and a return to peace in the Middle East. That's all they want. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me, but we won't have. I will be sure that World War III will not happen. I'm the only one can say it won't happen. But I stand here today, and I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily.
Well, I like the sound of that guy. I'd like to vote for him. Can he be our president? What's up, guys? Welcome to the Rescue Michigan Sunday Night Live stream. We've got a topic to talk about tonight. You might know what that is. There were some things that happened earlier this week. Governor Whitmer gave a speech. Nobody watched it. I did not watch it. I have nothing to say about what Whitmer said. Trump gave a speech also, by the way, which ironically said almost nothing about foreign policy. Nothing at all, I think he said about Ukraine. It was like literally 2 hours of America, America, America. In other words, it bear no resemblance to his actual presidency. But naturally, of course, after that speech was over, if his presidency was like his State of the Union address, like 95% all about America, his approval ratings might not be in the toilet. Patty says she watched Whitmer's speech. You know, I did not see it. I did glance at it, actually, because it was in the House Journal for the week. I have not updated Operation Watchdog for this week yet, guys. I apologize. A couple hours ago, I went to look, because I figured with the State of the State speech, would have been like nothing going on in Lansing this week. They actually introduced like almost 100 bills. So I'm a little behind. Along with the budget bills, but still a lot of bills to read through. So I will get that posted to the website soon. But of course, obviously, the thing to talk about is the I'm sure Trump has called it absolutely perfect war in Iran, which does not seem to be going all that perfectly. In fact, it seems to be going incredibly, terribly wrong. In fact, I don't know if you guys saw this. This is the photo we used in the thumbnail today. Man, Trump looks freaking rough. This was Trump in the Situation Room or the whatever bunker he was in the other day. And man, that guy looks defeated. I was seeing Patty says the zoning bills are really bad. Yeah, we were talking about that. I have heard about that. I will maybe do something about that at some point one of these days. But for the moment, the thing to talk about is what's going on in Iran, which by my count now, Iran has struck back at 15 countries, all of them proxies for the U.S., vassals of the United States, except, of course, for Israel, which is our Lord and Master. But yeah, the U.S., Israel, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain getting hammered, Oman, Syria, Cyprus, France, they have a base in the UAE, Italy, they have a base at the NATO camp at the Ali Al Salam base, Salem base, and also a British base in Cyprus was hit. And again, you know, we'll have to go back and really revisit this next week because the war obviously just started Friday night. So it's still very early in the goings to see how this is going to shape up. But as I was saying on the show a couple weeks ago, the real test for Iran is to survive. It's a war of choice for this country. In fact, we had no reason to do it at all in the first place. But for Iran, this is a war for survival. And I'll tell you, it appears that murdering the Ayatollah was not the smart move to make to start the war, because the Iranian people have just completely rallied around his death. Now they've already put another Ayatollah in place, so you know there was no disruption of leadership, and now the Iranians appear to be just completely united. So if the goal was to cause instability in the country, that seems to be a very stupid thing to do. In fact, the Ayatollah was just killed at his house. Like, he didn't go. There were reports that said that like they tried to get him to go to a security. It's like no. I want to be a martyr. So, yeah, Kyle asks about what I'm saying about poor people eating liver. We'll get to that, Kyle. We will. That's one of my side topics for tonight was a speech RFK gave. And he said, yeah, if you don't make enough money to pay for expensive steak because the price of beef is so high, you should eat liver. You should eat liver. But anyway, yeah, we'll get to that in a moment or two's time. But anyway, yeah, for anyone who's thinking this war is like going great because we're bombing the crap out of Iran, let me remind you that our military resources are rather finite, and when you expend them all bombing a gigantic country, you have less of them left for the future. And yeah, so here is, just as an example, this is Israel a couple of nights ago. Here, let's see how this is going for them.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That was what? 11 air defense missiles used to unsuccessfully stop one. How many more days and weeks do you guys think that we are going to be able to attack Iran with impunity without having a scarcity of air defense resources and other things that we need? So, yeah, I mean, this is not very well thought out, and frankly, I don't think this is a very smart place to be. You know, something else. We showed a number of clips from in the cold open of Trump saying he would not do the very thing he has now done, which is to start what might easily become World War III, by the way, folks. I mean, keep in mind. So, by the way, just like when this before I started streaming, it was announced that Hezbollah now joined the party. Britain and France say they are going to attack. Saudi Arabia claims they want to get involved in the war against Iran. With what army exactly, I have no idea, but whatever. Maybe they'll try a ground invasion. We'll see how that goes for them. But anyway, I was looking at some other clips of Trump and came across this beauty here. Let me put this one up on the screen.
I have a great company. I have a tremendous income. And the reason I say that is not in a braggadocious way. It's because it's about time that this country had somebody running it that has an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt, and our country's a mess. You know, it's one thing to have 20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from a third world country. You land at LaGuardia, you land at Kennedy, you land at LAX, you land at Newark, and you come in from Dubai and Qatar and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these incredible airports and you land, we've become a third world country. So The worst of all things has happened. We owe $20 trillion and we're a mess. We haven't even started. And we've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, according to a report that I just saw, whether it's 6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. And it's really a shame. And it's politicians like Secretary Clinton that have caused this problem. Our country has tremendous problems. We're a debtor nation. We're a serious debtor nation. And we have a country that needs new roads, new tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals.
Anyway, you get the idea. Now, a couple of things about that point. And the reason I brought it up is because, man, did Trump sound better back then. You know, it's been said that Trump has been very good at resisting the aging process, but it's catching up to him, man. He is not as lucid as he once was. But again, of course, the other thing he says in that video is maybe we shouldn't be spending all of our money in the Middle East. Whereas Trump today says we need to increase our military budget by $500 billion every single year. $500 billion every single year. It's just mind-boggling. This is the formula to win the election, right, guys? I mean, here's what they said when they actually were winning the election. To anybody still gullible enough to fall for scummy media hoaxes, Trump said warmongering neocons love sending your kids to die for wars they would never fight themselves. By the way, Trump's son Barron is not enlisted, nor are any of his other kids. And there have been 3 military deaths in this country already. But here we go. Liz Cheney's Kamala top advisor. She wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace. Yeah, that's what we were sold. And you know, usually when a politician breaks a core campaign promise, it reflects badly upon them in the polls in upcoming elections. Trump has broken all of his campaign promises, so I suspect he's not going to do too well. Although I will say, one of the things I did take away from seeing the State of the Union speech, I did watch the State of the Union speech, is we don't see Democrats much on the TV these days for how disgusting and awful they are. So I remember after the State of the Union speech, I was thinking, like, man, you know, as awful as Trump is, the Democrats are still worse. They are always worse. And Trump proves me wrong. I don't know. But maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, in addition to assassinating the Ayatollah, and by the way, it should be said, I mean, it shouldn't need to be said because it's so glaringly obvious, but it should be pointed out that this entire conflict was an illegal act of criminal aggression by the Trump administration and Trump himself in particular. So yeah, you want to see the Ayatollah as a sponsor of terror. You know, as it's written in the passive voice, there's a reason for that. Because what they actually say, what did he do to sponsor terror? What terror events did he sponsor? Stuff and things. But what actually happened, of course, was that we were in negotiations with the Iranians. Negotiations, surrender or die was our terms. And then in the middle of the negotiations, once again, as we did last year, we cynically committed a sneak attack on their country during the negotiations. Classic move of treachery, dishonorable, shameful, the US MO, basically. And then, of course, we, in addition to assassinating the Ayatollah, also dropped a bomb and butchered an entire school of girls. I think 100 of them. Here is the scene of that crime. And of course, every single thing in the war is a crime from the original activity. Here's the school. So there's this post says 40 students killed and 40 injured. The updated death total has been over 100. And as the RWA show points out, these are the excuses that they always give every single time, like clockwork. 1, it was actually a military target, not a civilian one. 2, they used them as human shields and forced us to kill them. 3, actually, we didn't do anything at all. They bombed themselves. It was their own air defense missiles, all claimed simultaneously, in parallel, running on pure chutzpah. This exact same language, unchanged since, and the example he gives is June 2nd, 2014 in Lugansk, which is the province in the Donbass. I've heard it so many times. It is so tiresome. The empire of lies has become grotesquely banal in its lies. And it could be said about 100 other things too. Whenever there's attacks on civilians, always the same thing. They blew themselves up. That's what they always say. In fact, here's an amazing one. This is from NBC News. And
So for
here's
clarity,
we didn't need to watch that clip. There's a nice summary of it here. Sir, how can attacking U.S. military bases abroad be justified? Because they're attacking us. Sir, we're bombing the shit out of your country, every inch of it. Trump said this morning, bombs will fall everywhere. We just bombed a school full of girls. What right do you have to attack our military bases? What right do you have to attack these Americans at these military bases? How dare you, sir? How dare you? John says, here I thought I was alone, making 180-degree turn from embrace to rejection on Donald John Trump. No, brother. You are not alone. You are far, far from alone. In fact, I haven't seen them lately. What's Trump's approval rating looking like these days? Let's see. I'm curious. Oh, he's up in the polls, minus 11.3. Well, sometimes it takes a few days for the news to catch up, but we'll see. We'll see. But that's the average. Still, if you look at the, oh, shoot, here, hold on. There's the old toothbrush we got here. So it's looking like it's gotten a little bit of a bump in the last day or two, but this is a collection of many different polls. So they kind of go up and down from different pollsters. But no, we actually, we had our Republicans had their county conventions this week. In my county, every single person that went to the county convention got elected to the state convention because we could not fill our delegation. That's interest in the GOP is through the floor. I heard the same thing was going on in Oakland County. People just aren't showing up. Jason says the terrorists do put AA batteries. I assume you're meaning air defense batteries, not AA batteries, in school court. Yeah, exactly as RWA just said. The lies are always the same. They hide behind human shields. They have their network of tunnels under the hospitals that we drop bombs on. They say the same garbage every single time. Meanwhile, by the way, why do you think we have had so low casualties on our U.S. air bases? Where do you think our soldiers are? They're not at base? No, they put them up in hotels, hiding behind human shields, just like complete and total cowards. Yeah, same excuses all the time. Here's an amazing one. This came through today. This was absolutely shocking to me because of who said it. This is from Michael McFaul, who is a hardcore neocon. You see here, professor of political science, Hoover Institution, U.S. ambassador to Russia, 2012 to 2014, hates Russia, complete and total neocon. And here's what he says. Trump is now the neocon that he has ridiculed for all of his public life. Trump has just openly called for regime change in Iran. He's using the American armed forces to facilitate the outcome. This is a complete reversal of what he's been promising his supporters for decades. Yeah. A complete and total reversal of everything that Trump claimed that he was. Something else. Yeah. Remember the big thing Trump said? Remember this, guys? Remember this? America first. America. No, that's kind of a big deal, wasn't it? America first. That was kind of a thing. This is the Trump administration. This is the White House. You can see. You even have. Look on his desk at the bottom there. There's even an Israeli notepad of some kind, and then of course here's pretty much. Let's see. Well, you got the perfume princess Lindsey Graham. You got Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Elise Stefanik, J.D. Vance. And you can make out the Israeli flag. J.D. Vance is holding it too. Trump himself, of course. There is Pete Hegseth. I don't know who this guy here is on the second from Trump on the right there. Maybe that's Ratcliffe. That might be Ratcliffe. Then you've got John Fetterman. Look at that. He put a suit on. He won't wear a suit in the U.S. Senate. He will disrespect the U.S. Senate, but for Israel, he'll put on a suit. I don't know who this other guy is next to him. And then you got Stephen Miller, Jared Kushner, and of course, so the little imp himself, Mark Levin, is there too. Mark Ashley Price, I was selected as delegate to state convention. Are you upset that I was selected as a delegate? No, I'm not upset, man. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. I don't know what the point of going to state convention is. To do what, but hey, if that's your thing, man, congratulations. So there you go. No, seriously, buddy. Good job. I'm glad you're staying involved. I really am. What else have we got? Yeah, here is Israel first. All about Israel. That's the entire purpose of this. And here is Trump himself saying it. Not me saying it. This is Trump. Yeah, I'm aware of it. So Israel is amazing because, I have good support from Israel. I have. Look, nobody has done more for Israel than I have, including the recent attacks on Iran. That's from last year, wiping that thing out. So there's Trump just telling you, this is a war for Israel. Patty says, JD Vance hasn't tweeted anything in days. Yeah, JD Vance is getting thrown under the bus for sure. Absolutely, he is. And I'll show you. Did you notice in the State of the Union, he got Kamala? Trump says, "Yeah, I'm going to put JD Vance in charge of eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse from the government and getting the economy back on track." That's what he gave JD Vance a job. That's just like when Biden made Kamala his border czar. There is no question. In fact, here is somewhere here. I've got this article. Yeah, here we go. This is Michael Malice. Jason says, sorry, I'll dumb it down. Anti-aircraft. Yeah, usually they say air defense, but whatever. Ron says, are you saying that photo is legit? Fetterman in a suit should be a clue. Like I said, he'll dress like a slob on the floor of the U.S. Senate, and Republicans will let him for some reason. But for Israel, he'll put a suit on. Anyway, so there's this article. Vance humiliated as Trump freezes him out over Iran split. And this is funny. Some guy says, how do you know Vance didn't plan to destroy himself? Michael says, I don't. Yeah, definitely. That in that photo, I guess you can't see the whole photo in that image there. But yeah, it's JD Vance, and he's with Tulsi. Tellingly. So yeah, they say that yes, the plan definitely is for a Vance Rubio ticket in 2028. I don't believe for 1 second that Rubio will not hesitate to run against JD Vance. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever, because the Israel lobby put Rubio in the Trump administration in the first place. And the Israel lobby always gets what they want. So they will back Rubio, not Vance. Vance is clearly getting thrown away. The timing of the attacks, of course, this is kind of funny. Someone made note of this. There's a CNN article. Timing of U.S.-Israel attack on Iran bears symbolic meaning in Judaism. A few months ago, I was saying we're probably going to attack Iran before the new year on account of that. We really, don't want to have it getting in too close to the midterms. But what was I thinking? Of course, it's not about our timing. It's about Israel. It's about Israel timing. And yes, there has the passage read publicly before Purim, which is the Jewish celebration of their war with Iran, to fulfill the mitzvah of remembering Amalek as Israel's archetypal. Is it archetype? I think it's archetype. Archetypal enemy. And Amalek, the ancient biblical name of the Iranians, I guess. Yeah, it's amazing. So they assassinated the Ayatollah, who's to Islam, he's like the Pope. He assassinated the Pope on Ramadan. I'm sure this will go over great. Amazing stuff. Sorry, somehow another tab just popped open and distracted me for a second there. What else was I going to mention this week? Yeah, this is the Ayatollah. And he was 86 years old. Like, probably not going to be in power much longer anyway. Says, my life has little value. I have a disabled body. I have a little bit of dignity, which you have given me. I put all this on the line, ready to sacrifice everything. He wanted to be a martyr. He wanted to be a martyr. And we gave that to the Iranians. Oops. This has every indication of being a disastrously poorly planned attack, because remember, it was supposed to have been off of the success of the whole operation last month. It was supposed to be this crisis with the Rial, which now Scott Bessent admits we engineered. And they were supposed to overthrow the government, and that didn't happen. And instead, the Iranians put down the rebellion. So after that hell went completely wrong, now here we are. And yeah, this is, and you know, you have to keep in perspective. Like I've been following the war in Ukraine for the past like 4 years now. It's been, and every single day you hear of like 1,000 casualties, give or take, every single day. And every single day it's this got bombed. Here's a footage of a missile striking a target here. I mean, day after day after day after day for years. And we think we're going to just wipe out the Iranian country in a week. So Trump's already moving the goalposts. First he said 4 days. Now he's saying maybe 4 weeks. 15 days to slow the spread, folks. 15 days to slow the spread. That's where we're at here. So when we're shooting off 11 interceptors to hit one Iranian missile that doesn't get through, what's going to happen is we're going to rain absolute hell on Iran for the next couple of weeks. And what then? What then? Someone actually asked Lindsey. Oh, interestingly, very notable. Not one Trump administration official did the Sunday morning talk shows today. None. But Lindsey Graham was on. And so Lindsey Graham is asked, like, what's the plan? What are you going to do? And he's like, well, we're going to replace the regime with whatever the Iranians want to. It's the choice of the Iranian people, he says. And unless, of course, they elect someone we don't like, in which case we'll have to go to war with them again. He left that part out. But anyway, they're like, they don't have any coherent plan for what the plan is. Just to bomb the shit out of Iran and hope that does the trick. Hope the regime collapses and disintegrates. But they just killed their pope. So unfortunately, that whole disorganization and lack of unity thing is all falling apart. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? Anyway, I don't have all that much more to go through tonight because, again, frankly, it's going to be still wait and see. We've been at war for, I think it's only been 48 hours now, not even that. So we'll see. So I do have a couple of side stories. First, here is something that came out this week. The Democrats actually put out an autopsy on why they lost the election. Now, these are not reports to be taken all too seriously. Remember when Republicans lost in 2012, the autopsy said we need to be more open borders. We're losing on the immigration issue. We need to be more welcoming to immigrants, and then we'll get the immigrant vote. Of course, Trump won in 2016 doing the exact opposite. But the Democrats put out their autopsy report, except they didn't. They yanked it back, still secret. And here's the thing. Top Democrat officials who worked in the party's still secret autopsy of the 2024 election concluded that the Kamala Harris lost significant support because of the Biden administration's approach to the war in Gaza. You know, they always tell us that this foreign policy stuff, the Americans don't care about that, but somehow foreign policy always does seem to get a word in these big elections. So yeah, that was the Democrats' autopsy report. I guess we'll never know why they lost the election because they won't put out the report. But anyway, here is the other story I referenced I referenced earlier. RFK Jr. This kind of fell through the cracks in the stories this week because because of all the other stuff going on. But here's RFK Maha Nation trademark in the backdrop here, and here's what RFK had to say.
And this is true all over the country. There's a lot of good food in grocery stores that goes away. Most of the cheap cuts of meat are very inexpensive. If you buy a porterhouse steak or a strip steak, it is gonna set you back. You can buy liver or the cheaper cuts of steak that are very, very affordable.
So there's Bobby Kennedy. Are you mad about the price of beef being so high? Are you mad that steak is like $30 a pound now? Well, guess what, folks? Let them eat liver. Let them eat cake. Just more irony and zero self-awareness. So I guess to answer this question, there was a question earlier. He says, poor people eat liver. I didn't hear this, but why poor people? Because it's too expensive. Liver is the most nutritious, vitamin-packed meat on the planet. So what's wrong with suggesting a healthy meat over meat product? It's not that you're suggesting a healthy meat product. It's that this is your way of spinning inflation, price inflation. The fact that good food is incredibly expensive these days. Like every single time I go to the grocery store, I feel like my wallet's taking a punch in the gut. I was at the grocery today. I saw a single bottle of Coca-Cola, a 20-ounce bottle for $3 at the grocery store. And why are prices so high? Well, we just saw Trump answer that question because we're spending all of our money on the military. If only we could vote our way out of that problem. Here's another nice. Here's a lead for JD Vance. Here's something you can follow up on. Here was Kash Patel in 2023. He's got a great suggestion for JD Vance. Watch this.
And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum.
So there you go. There you go. Kash Patel, ladies and gentlemen, with a great idea. Stop spending taxpayer money to let the FBI director fly all over the world. Isn't that a great idea, Kash Patel? What'd you do last weekend, Kash Patel? Oh, that's right. You took the G5 jet and flew to the Olympics to party with the USA Olympic team. And again, I'm not saying there's anything unethical or illegal about doing that. I'm saying when our economy is looking bad, when you haven't arrested any child sex abuse victims of Jeffrey Epstein, or made any arrests for that matter in any of the cases of corruption involving the Biden administration, nothing accomplished. It just sends kind of a bad look to go party with Team USA in where was it? Shoot, I don't even remember. I didn't watch the Olympics. I'm not an Olympics person. Italy, I think it was. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah. So that's Kash Patel. He's got a great idea to solve waste, fraud, and abuse. Maybe this administration will start to practice doing the things they were saying, but, none of that ever happens anymore. Here's Representative Anna Paulina Luna today talking about congressional ethics. Congressional ethics is a joke. They have so much dirt on members of Congress, and they do nothing. Talking about this as a congressional ethics committee. They have a file like that long for every member of Congress. There's even a slush fund they use to pay people off with their tax dollars. This is part of the reason why the system is so broken. They're sitting on reports, and if someone steps out of line, isn't it ironic how they leaked them, threatened to leak them, or time it for right before Election Day? I think she said after. I think she meant before. Now, I will say, because there's actually a wrinkle to this sexual harassment issue, which is that politicians, like other wealthy people, often do get shakedowns where they're just threatened to be accused. Trump got a lot of that, obviously. What's your name, Jean Carroll or whatever. And they're nuisance lawsuits, and they'll pay to make them go away because that's easier than litigating them. And there's definitely a public policy issue with just making all of those sexual harassment settlement claims known. There's a bill in Michigan, I think, to outlaw sexual harassment settlements, which would be a big problem. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because if you made it so that you can't settle sexual harassment lawsuits out of court, you would have to fight them every single time, wouldn't you? Seems like that'd be a lot of money, but probably the corporation would be able to pay more likely than the accuser if the accuser's claims don't have merit. But I don't know. That's a very, going to court for any reason is a very big gamble. I got to tell you guys a story. I don't know if you guys ever knew this about me. I was once charged. I think it was actually not a criminal charge. I think it was a civil charge, a civil infraction for a noise violation. And me being the crazy person that I am, I took it to a trial by jury. And we had a 1-day trial over my noise violation ticket. And as it happened, I won. I got acquitted. I made a great case. It's a long story. I'm not going to tell the whole story now. But the upshot was I found out years later that had I lost, the court costs for the one day I had in court was $10,000. $10,000 would have had to pay over a $150 ticket. So luckily I won. But yeah, litigation is extremely expensive. So, but anyway, the point being, though, what Luna is also saying, though, is that there is actually basically a blackmail file within Congress and the Ethics Committee that they can use at their discretion. So, yep. So there you go. I think that's pretty much all I've got for this week, guys. Kind of a short stream considering how turbulent events are in the world. But again, you know, the thing to just say is, you know, we're all just passengers now. There's nothing more that can be done. Trump, you know, as I suggested, was going to do this no matter what, and now he has, and now he can't undo it. And I think he's going to reap the whirlwind, but time will tell. Time will tell. Hopefully, we don't have a full-blown World War III. But with neocons, and now clearly we can say definitively Trump is a neocon. He is a servant of the Israeli state. And his only desire is to keep us in war, because that's all the Israel state's desire ever is that they only double down on stupid. That's just the way that goes. So yeah, we're seeing escalations happening on a daily basis. Today, the news was Hezbollah and also Britain and France are now threatening to get involved in the war. I gotta say, if I was Xi Jinping, I'd be thinking now is a great time to take Taiwan. Just saying. I mean, I should say, I do not think they will do that, because that's just not the way the Chinese do things. But they got to be thinking it. They got to be thinking it. And of course, I don't know what's going to happen with the negotiations with Russia. Again, there are no negotiations with Russia. Russia just put their foot down last time we had any, but they've been going through the motions. So I guess we'll find out one of these days if they ever even try to pick that diplomatic track back up again. They might not. You know, why negotiate over the Donbass when they're about to take it anyway? So anyway, yeah. Oh, I should also just say one more thing, because it was in the title of the stream, and he was actually mentioned at the State of the Union address, which is, of course, Charlie Kirk, who in his final days was absolutely firmly against all of these idiot no-win wars, because Charlie Kirk had his pulse on the youth of the Republican Party. And the youth of the Republican Party is just, well, it's just all disappeared. Because they are not pro-Israel Zionists. They were America First conservatives. And America First has really gotten the shaft from this whole administration. And what a terrible thing it is. And I don't know, guys. Look, again, whenever the Democrats open their mouths, I'm reminded of how awful they are. So the woman that gave the speech, the Democrat response to the State of the Union was Abigail Spanberger, who went out of her way to note that she is a CIA agent, just as Alyssa Slotkin was, who gave the response. I think it was just last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I think it was last year, though. It used to be embarrassing for politicians to be affiliated with the deep state. Now they just flaunt it. And of course, the Democrats, you know, they sat on their hands for most of the State of the Union speech. But when Trump said we're going to bomb Iran, he didn't. Well, I think I've got the clip of Trump at the State of the Union speech. Maybe I don't. I don't know if I've got it. I don't think I've got it pulled up. I thought maybe I did. Looks like I don't. But Trump only spoke for like 1 minute on Iran. Every single word of it was a lie. He claimed Iran refuses to say the secret words, whatever that means, the secret words, we will never possess a nuclear weapon, which is absolutely insane, because Iran has said literally every day Iran gets up and says we're not pursuing a nuclear weapon. The Ayatollah who we just assassinated issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons. Maybe the next Ayatollah won't be so against nuclear weapons. Weird how we do things, isn't it, folks? You murder the guy that says he's against nuclear weapons because you say they might get nuclear weapons. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, the Democrats who sat on their hands and snarled at the Republicans all night got up on their feet and clapped like seals as soon as Trump says that Iran has to be stopped. Well, the Democrats are, I'm sure, very, very happy that Trump did not get a congressional authorization of war resolution from Congress, because they would not have wanted to go on record of that. Jason says China is a paper tiger. I'm fairly certain Taiwan is safe. Yeah. Hey, man. Sure. go ahead and think that. Have you seen anything about Chinese shipbuilding lately? How many ships they built this year versus how many ships we built this year? Should we look it up? Hold on, I'm gonna look this up. Let me ask Grok. Let me ask Grok. How many ships did China build last year, and how many did the United States build last year? All right, and I misspelled ships. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see what Grok says. Grok is thinking. Last year, 2024, China dominated global shipbuilding, particularly in the commercial sector. China delivered around 1,286 vessels, primarily commercial ships, totaling around 39.12 million tons, accounting for roughly 54.57% of global output. This is staggering in scale. One major Chinese state-owned shipbuilder alone produced more tonnage in 2024 than the entire U.S. shipbuilding industry has since World War II ended. Yeah. Yeah, ask Grok. Yeah, I did ask Grok. That was Grok's answer. Let me know if you find a different one. You guys understand, like, war is about logistics and war is about manufacturing. Sure. Yeah. Hey, go ahead and think that if you want, man. You do you. All right, guys, that'll do it for us for this week. I will get Operation Watchdog updated shortly and maybe do some more Michigan stuff next week, and we'll see how the U.S. does in their adventure in Iran. We'll know more in the days and weeks to come. Until next time, though, guys, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you would, please. That does help our channel. And until next time, as always, guys, thanks for all you do for liberty.